Hello YouTube viewers, welcome to my channel Science to Technology. In today's show, Computer Wednesday, we're gonna talk about Steam Deck analysis. So let's dive right into it. Now this puppy has reached the real world, meaning it's now in consumer's hand at this point in time. However, it will still take some serious amount of time before it hits Indian market, and the primary reason is that shortage is still in effect, and not to mention we also have a war going on. So do expect some patience. If you are in a places where it's not available right now, it may take longer. Now early reviews are in from multiple sources, as in people who have used this puppy for around 1 month. So a complete picture is starting to emerge, and if you want to compress that puppy down, the reality is very simple. There is a lot of work still remaining, meaning the hardware wise it's surprisingly good for a company that's making its first handheld. It's damn good. Now again, anybody who's following Valve knows for a fact that Valve already tried to make controllers, already tried to make PCs, so they have some experience in making consumer electronics, but this is like a surprisingly competent display of technology, whereas we know what people want, what people need. Hardware wise it's good. However, software wise, let's dive deep into it. Now, what are the good things Valve did in these things? The first thing, they are flat out embracing open source community. Now it's kind of smart things to do, simply because you have limitations, meaning it does not matter whether you are like $1 billion company or $1 trillion company as Microsoft or Apple. You still have limited numbers of developers. In that sort of scenario, if you are embracing open source, that means there are far more people working to make sure it's working properly, and there are a lot more eyes looking into it and making sure that things go as it's supposed to go. I mean, that's why all servers, all as in military servers to everything else server, also runs on Linux, open source. Now company is directly taking that approach. Now, is that beneficial from a company's point of view? Actually yes, because it will allow them rapid development, because they can make a system and ask community to validate it, to figure things out. Or even if, let's say, community randomly finds out a flaw, like, hey dude, there is this giant bug, they can create a patch file. Again, that patch file will directly not be sent out to every Steam system, but Steam can look at it as like, that's what we are missing. Or they may need to tweak it, or to make it more robust. Oh, this was the flaw, or we can go down to fix it up. So it allows for really fast development and good fixes. So it's a really good long-term play. It's not something that you will see right now, but more and more people assume this device starts to become successful, as in hundreds and thousands of units of these things starts to sell into the market, then it starts to pay off. It's like the bigger the community, the better this open source starts to pay off. It's not good thing if you are really selling few units, but if you're selling millions of units, this puppy prints money. So that's why it's desirable. It's a really smart move from Valve's point of view to make it open source. And they are also supporting right to repair properly. Now properly simply means they are actually thinking about it from the design's point of view, using screws, while again people would have preferred having brass insert in the plastic case, but that will add way too much cost. Understandable. And not to mention, you're not supposed to open and close this puppy again and again. Once in a while, especially after the battery degrades after, let's say, 1 or 2 years, or once in a while you have to clean it up. That's it. For that, plastic tabs are good enough. Now, using this approach of properly designing the equipment so it is serviceable, repairable, upgradable, has advantages. Right now there is a lot of anger amongst people, because more and more people are realizing how badly we are kind of messed up. I guarantee you can personally know people who have dude, I have a really good phone. The only reason I'm taking this amazing phone and making it to e-waste is simply because the battery has worn out. It's a physical thing. It has chemistry involved. It's gonna get self-destructed after 2 years of use. It's gonna happen again. Especially with the phones that have really small batteries or have multiple small cells. If you have a big cell, you can stretch it to 3 years, but you get the point. There are amazing SoC in that system, amazing display, everything is working fine. You have to throw it away because of the battery, and company does not allow you to just change the battery. They know this for a fact. Right now there is a lot of anger amongst people. They are milking that. It's like, hey, we are directly partnering up with iFixit to create a development kit, where iFixit will help them to support this sort of devices. They have learned from Nintendo's example, where the Nintendo is like, we make a device that never breaks. I'm like, engineers are like, bitch please, that does not happen in real life. You make things, it breaks. Physics does not allow you to have something that does not break. So they know for Joy-Cons, they will have issue. They're gonna wear out. It's a physical thing. So what if you could design it as a module which you can easily swap and replace? So this sort of thing gives them a very good guy points that really helps them in stock value. On top of that, it also improves tech support. They're not as big as Apple. They cannot have multi-trillion-dollar investment, whereas we have Genius Bar everywhere. And because they are directly selling the parts, you can literally have a scenario, let's say a big metropolitan city, and these devices start to sell like hotcakes. There will be tech shops that will be just they'll buy the parts in spare and just come here, we'll fix your stuff, go home. That's awesome. That's a really well played. Like, that stops this puppy from becoming a e-waste very quickly. So again, it will over time will become e-waste, but rather than just becoming after 2 years, it can be stretched to 3 or even 4 years. So that's really well thought out long-term planning. And they are also providing Windows driver. However, be very mindful, it's unsupported. I'll explain more that in the future, but it does allow this puppy to become secondary users as a proper PC. Right now, because of the chip shortage, because of the stupidly, ludicrously, idiotically high prices of desktop PCs, this sort of devices are becoming far more desirable. People are like, dude, I will buy a laptop. Even though I don't like laptops, I'll buy laptops, I'll buy, giant monitors, keyboard and all that, just to work with it, simply because desktops are too flat out unaffordable at this point in time. This sort of device, given the fact that they can support Windows, and for the price to performance ratio, this is god tier. Awesome. So they are doing real like these three things very well. Again, all these things over time pays dividends. It's like, slow investment but long-term return. Now let's understand the Linux part of it. Well, Linux, anybody who has worked with Linux knows Linux sucks. Now, why does that matter? Think of this, Linux has two layers to it. First layer is the server layer. That's the hardcore layer. People are getting paid to work on it. That's awesome layer. That's where Linux shines. Then there is another layer where Linux is used by common people, and it sucks in that, simply because there are 10,000 variations on that, and everybody hates everybody else. Like, if you type this issue, like for example, I had issue where it's like my hard drive was not there. The first comment I get is like, oh, that's why I don't use Ubuntu. Now you use Arch, the first comment you'll get, that's why I use Pop. It's miserable. Is miserable, flat out. It's like programmer developed that tool for other programmer. They forgot that there are people whose job is not programming. So when Steam claimed that they're gonna have 100% of working Steam library, again, they were like flat out honest. If Unreal Games works, that's awesome. If it does not work, we cannot be responsible for that. That's awesome. That's understandable. But Steam library, given the fact that it's huge, it's gonna work on it. Yeah, no. Anybody who works with like actual Ubuntu, actual Arch, and actual that, yeah, that's not happening. Flat out not happening. So right now there are only few popular games that just work. Now be mindful, I just work simply means you do not think about it. You open that game, you play it, you do not think about it. All functionality works, all safe, there is no random glitches where it's like, oh, it shuts off or gets stuck somewhere. That's not there. However, removing those few popular games at this point in time, the game stability and experience that you're gonna have, it's directly Lux based. You can literally have a scenario like this game shows that it's supposed to be like in verified list, but good luck playing that game. Or you may be a scenario where it's like game played for like 1 hour perfectly, after that it's like started to get stuck in cutscenes because nobody verified the game properly, as in like from start to finish, multiple playthroughs, nobody did that. So right now there is no solid game compatibility list, meaning this list, if you are downloading or buying a game directly from this list, it will work. Do not think too much about it. It's not there. That's the biggest mistake at this point in time, and that creates another issue. People who are buying this puppy as a console user, is like, hey, I'm gonna buy this new console that people are talking about. It's nowhere near. Like, if Nintendo says this puppy works on Nintendo Switch, it works on Nintendo Switch. If Sony says this works on PS Vita, it works on PS Vita. You do not think too much about it. In Steam case, there is no such list. Again, we get it. Like, again, Steam wanted to hype that puppy up. We get it. Awesome. But realistically, it cannot be done. Physics does not allow. I have worked in game development, so I know. Again, as an artist, not a programmer, as an artist, let me tell you, it just does not work. So right now, Valve knows this, and they are working on almost daily updates. That's a good thing. Although I do not like the idea of daily updates. I'm like, dude, just pile that updates up and give weekly update. I do not want to open a device like every day. It gets frustrating very quick. Unless it's a security related. It's like, it's a big security risk, solve it now. But unless it's that, do not give me daily updates. It becomes annoying after a while. But I do get it. And they still have to deal with anti-cheat softwares. Now, anti-cheat software goes down to the kernel level. That's why they are not very easy to support or port, because again, porting is done above kernel. You cannot go into the kernel while you are porting something. So anti-cheat software, meaning the companies who are selling the anti-cheat software, they have to support Linux Arch variant. If they do that, good luck. If they don't, good luck. So reality is, at this point in time, Linux experience is not that awesome. Like, again, for the games that do work, for the games that have been verified by like people playing from start to finish multiple times, those games are awesome. You're gonna be like, yo, this is good stuff. But if anything other than that, good luck. It's just a base problem. You may have a good experience, or you may have like, dude, why the heck my game crashing 25 times? Like, it will crash more than Windows crashing. Now another many time, because again, Steam itself made a big deal that you can even do dual boot on this puppy. What the hell you want to dual boot into? You're gonna dual boot into Windows. So Windows is not officially supported. What does that actually mean? That simply means even though drivers are provided by Valve and AMD working together, they will not provide any support for them. Meaning, if there is a security breach, good luck with you. If there is any other thermal issues or whatever have you, they will not care about it. Again, it cannot be blamed on them because again, creating a supported device is complicated. However, because of the fact that they are using a custom SoC, the APU, it's completely dedicated APU. It's not sold in the open market. It's specifically built for that. It's almost like the same level as how basically PlayStation or Xbox, they get their own custom silicon. Same thing is happening here. So that's why no other third-party people can support it properly. So a base driver has to be there in order for other people to go in and modify it or something like that. And because it's a custom multi-million-dollar deal, the hardware price to performance ratio is really good. Meaning even with one terabyte option, 500 GB, $500 variant, you're gonna get really good Windows PC. Flat out, nothing will come close to the price to performance. Like in terms of how much crunching this puppy can do, it's really good. However, all that being said, it's in Valve's best interest to actually support Windows in this, because it is one device, and if you support Windows in it, it becomes a whole, it is actually far more efficient from their point of view. Then if they say 100% of Steam game works, it does work. Then why they are not doing it? Again, that requires them to pay a license. Now, right now, if they still would not have to pay as much, if they are only developing the license, they still do not have to pay for that software key which they are selling. They are just like, dude, we are developing license. If somebody is running Windows on it without the original key, they are pirating. That's not Valve's issue. So Valve can do that, and it is in their best interest to make sure this puppy can support Windows properly, because if it does, it also becomes a very attractive equipment for people who are looking for light working laptops. This is a really good option for them. So Windows is also not amazing. Again, compared to Linux is let's say 70 to 80% baked. This puppy is 30% baked. So right now, flat out, the understanding is tough road ahead. Meaning, right now, every person, basically tech enthusiasts who are getting this product, they're in a honeymoon phase. It's everything is awesome, everything is orgasm, but it's gonna create an issue soon. Again, it's first hype period. Once it goes over, the problem is it's a new kind of device, because before this, a gaming device, a gaming console simply means it's a goddamn gaming console. You do not think too much about it. It's it's a console, and if the console maker, let's say Sony says this is Horizon Zero Dawn, it works on it, it works on it. If it's a let's say Spider-Man 4, it works on it. You do not think too much about it. However, this device is we don't know, it's just a PC that we have folded up into a console setup. So it's an unknown kind of scenario. However, what Valve has to do, that's the one thing they have to sort, the deck verified have to be 100% solid. Meaning, if they give the stick, it means one thing and one thing only. Meaning, you can play the game. If it's not doing well, basically the game is still stuttering or still having issue, you have installed something else that's messing it up. Meaning, it should be user fault. If you have the stick mark and it works on the it does not work on the system, it should be user fault. It should not be anything other than that. But right now they are not doing that, and this cannot be there cannot be 4 stamps on that. There could be only one stamp. That means 100% solid. You do not think too much about it. It's does it work? Yes or no. Do not try to give explanation. It's is the game that Valve sat down with a QC team, actually played through it from start to finish, figured it out, all the cutscenes, tried to do actual testing. Yes, it will cost money, but that is the only way they can have that 100% confidence award. Without that, they should have only that system. We are stamping it, meaning it works. Community is stamping it, again, that Valve will take no responsibility of that. It's hey, community says it works, and we have collecting the telemetry data. They're hundreds of people have played 30, 50 hours on this game, and the game length is around 20 hours. They know for a fact that this game is working properly from a statistical point of view. So they can say we think from a community point of view it works, and there should be good luck on that. It's Steam, we say this works, it means it works. Everything else, good luck. That should be the only way. Either it works or it's on you. And they have to improve the PC part, because many people want to do this. Heck, I want to do this, and I'm pretty sure once you get that, because they are using normal open standardizing, universal standards. They're not locking this puppy in. You can just put a USB dock, connect a monitor, connect a keyboard, done. Right now, because of the cost of the monitor and keyboard is very cheap compared to cost of a laptop, people are just shut up and take my money. This is awesome use case. It's a really good use case. People can really get behind this if Steam really puts their labor into it, because again, the most expensive part is that dealing, where it's like, oh, we're gonna sell hundreds of a million of Windows key. That does require you to pay some big money to Windows. You do not have to do that. You just have to figure out the driver part. Again, from their point of view, from a business point of view, it is in their best interest, or at least make sure it's good enough. So they can sell it as a basic PC unit, and they're gonna move some serious units with that, meaning 5 million units will go to 10 million units if they make it into like a proper working system. Hardware is there, everything they need to do is already done, they just have to polish it out. So they do have a tough road ahead, because if they really try to milk this puppy, they will end up in a scenario where they are like, this product will become loss leading, meaning they will not make profit out of this. But is that a good thing? Yes, it's one of those things where many time companies, like when Apple released their first basically iPhone, they were not printing money on that. However, they was pouring all that money into R&D and App Store, and that paid dividend. Right now they are swimming in money simply because of that. So Valve can also do that, because again, this is just a start. Valve, if things go well, they will make second version, third version, fourth version. But if they sort out the software issue, if they sort out all the kernel and stacking issue, that makes sure that the next version will be much quickly made, much more robustly supported, and people will want to buy this. So it's a long-term investment which they can do if they really want to, but they have to sort this puppy out. They cannot have 4 stamps. There has to be 1 stamp. It works or good luck. That's the 2 stamp. Third stamp, if they really want to, is the community mathematically validated system. So they do have a tough road ahead. So this was my presentation on Steam Deck's real world analysis. Hopefully you have liked it, learned from it. In that case, please click the like button, share it amongst your friends. That will help me a lot. If you didn't like it, didn't enjoy it, I urge you to press dislike, press it twice to show me extra disappointment. Please leave a comment, because I do try to reply to all of them. Subscribe, press the bell icon if you're free, and as always, thanks for watching.